His pupils had already contracted to a tiny d, staring intently at the fierce beast that looked like a hulking man, gazing at him. Qiong. Memories of the ancient god 2C flowed through Wang Lin's mind like a river, instantly locking onto the recognition of this ferocious beast in the depths of his memory. The moment he identified the beast, cold sweat poured down Wang Lin's forehead. As his cultivation deepened, and his understanding of the laws of heaven and earth grew, Wang Lin had come to realize that cultivators were not the only powerful beings in the starry sky. Alongside cultivators, there existed countless unimaginable fierce beasts. Some of these beasts were so powerful that even the 8-star ancient god 2C would not dare to provoke them. Like the mosquito beast swarm of the past, or the scene now appearing in Wang Lin's memory. It was a pitch-black starry sky, where even the brilliant nebulae appeared indistinct, as if they couldn't shine in this domain. In the distance, there was a purple planet. A figure of several dozen Qiong in size slowly emerged from the purple planet. Although the figure itself wasn't large, it had 36 branches extending from its head, transforming into 36 enormous heads. Each branch seemed to stretch 1,000 Qiong long. In this way, the beast's body was nearly negligible. It flew out from the purple planet and let out a roar that shook the heavens. This was the synchronized roar of all 36 heads, a thunderous sound that caused the starry sky to collapse on a massive scale, fragmenting into pieces and creating an unimaginable spectacle. However, the beast wasn't roaring at the sky itself, but at an ancient god of massive size that stood not far ahead. Fierce beasts in the starry sky that dared to roar at ancient gods were few, and even rarer were those that dared to actively attack them. Yet, this 36-headed Qiong shot forward with a burst of speed and charged straight at the ancient god. The image abruptly disappeared. Wang Lin, watching Qiong as it stared at him, slowly took a step back. One of Qiong's heads hesitated, glancing between Wang Lin and the beast corpse remaining on the stone, seemingly weighing its options. Wang Lin cautiously took another step back, his eyes filled with vigilance. From 2C's memories, it was clear how powerful this Qiong was. Wang Lin knew that with his current cultivation, it would be nearly impossible to kill or tame this ferocious beast. His only option was to drive it back. But he had to be careful when retreating, doing so as slowly as possible. If he moved too quickly, it would immediately trigger the beast's pursuit. If this beast could become the mount of my true body, the ancient god, my combat power would greatly increase. Unfortunately, as Wang Lin retreated, 18 of Qiong's heads lowered to continue gnawing at the beast corpse in front of them, making a grating crunching sound. The sound echoed in the still void, especially jarring. However, one of the heads did not lower to feast but coldly stared at Wang Lin. As Wang Lin stepped back, it slowly swayed, like a snake's head, licking its lips. This head resembled a middle-aged man, his hair disheveled, with blood at the corners of his mouth. He kept staring at Wang Lin while chewing the flesh in his mouth. After Wang Lin had stepped back about 10 paces, the other 17 heads of Qiong had already lowered, but the last middle-aged man's head suddenly flashed with a black gleam in his eyes and spat out a large piece of chewed-up flesh. Without hesitation, Wang Lin took a large step back, his body transforming into a long rainbow as he sped away. The moment he moved, the middle-aged head let out a sharp, ear-piercing screech. The screech carried the power to shatter metal and stone, instantly reverberating through the quiet void. It caused the floating stones around to crumble violently. At the same time, the other 17 heads immediately lifted, all focusing on Wang Lin. In an instant, they surged forward, transforming into a streak of black light that shot toward Wang Lin at an unimaginable speed. Wang Lin's face darkened. This ferocious beast could not be understood using the mindset of a cultivator. He hadn't wanted to engage, but the screech echoing from behind him was getting closer. In this land of ancient gods, he couldn't use the shrinking earth technique, but he could still use teleportation. His body flickered and disappeared without a trace. However, just as he disappeared in a flash, Qiong's body also surged forward and vanished with a burst of speed. Wang Lin had just stepped out of the void when his expression changed. Without thinking, he quickly sidestepped. He heard a loud boom, and a sword chi of 10 zhang in size barely missed him, slicing through the air beside him. A gust of wind hit his face, and Wang Lin quickly retreated. Looking up, he saw Qiong had also teleported after him. The sword chi from earlier had been fired from one of its heads. All 18 of Qiong's heads were filled with bloodlust and greed, their eyes fixed on Wang Lin as they charged again, seemingly intent on devouring him and tasting human flesh once more. Wang Lin's expression was extremely grim. Without saying a word, he turned around and used instantaneous movement to disappear once again. The Qiong let out a low growl and quickly chased after him. The man and the beast continued to traverse and pursue each other through this void. The Qiong was fast, and without the use of instantaneous movement, Wang Lin would have no way to compete with it. However, Wang Lin was cautious, often appearing and immediately using instantaneous movement, thus maintaining his distance. The growls from the Qiong grew more furious. One of its heads, resembling an old woman, bit its tongue, spitting out a mouthful of blood and exhaling a foul stench toward the front. Immediately, the blood wriggled and transformed into 2 blood-colored runes. One flew into the sky, and the other fell to the ground. In an instant, the entire void was surrounded by a blood light that appeared out of nowhere, sealing the sky and locking the earth. In this seal, all instantaneous movement would hit an invisible barrier. Wang Lin was about to use instantaneous movement, but his expression darkened further. He gave up on it, and instead extended his right hand into the void. Immediately, a storage rift appeared before him. The moment the Qiong closed in, Wang Lin took out a yellow rune paper from his storage dimension. Without hesitation, he pressed it onto his chest. Suddenly, the wind howled, and Wang Lin's body was swept forward at an incredible speed. His entire figure turned into a black light and vanished from the spot. The Qiong's 18 heads all froze for a moment, but it quickly roared in anger. One of its heads, resembling a beautiful young girl, revealed a ferocious expression and let out a sharp screech. Suddenly, a black wind surrounded the Qiong, and this wind rapidly formed into a storm, lifting the Qiong's body as it sped up. In the end, it became nothing more than a blur, accompanied by a loud roar as it once again pursued Wang Lin. At the same time, 4 of its heads began chanting incantations. In an instant, countless black seals appeared around the storm, densely surrounding it. At the same time, they gathered toward the center and imprinted onto it. As a result, the speed of the storm increased exponentially, and the distance Wang Lin had previously gained was quickly closed. At this moment, Wang Lin was already close to the entrance to the next level of this void. Looking ahead, he could vaguely see a massive vortex. Wang Lin understood that if he entered this vortex, he would be able to leave the void and escape the terrifying Qiong's pursuit. However, there was no time left. The roaring sound behind him was still far away, but the storm was already within 100 feet. If this continued, Wang Lin would be caught by the Qiong before he could reach the vortex. In the face of this crisis, a cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. With a flick of his left hand, a firestorm erupted behind him, forming a fiery barrier. As he surged forward, he suddenly turned around. His right eye flashed with lightning, and he pointed forward. In an instant, thunder rumbled through the void, and boundless lightning spread from Wang Lin's finger, forming a net of lightning that fell toward the firestorm. At that moment, the black storm surrounding the Qiong collided with the firestorm, producing an earth-shattering explosion. The firestorm immediately collapsed, scattering into countless sparks, like heavenly fires scorching the earth. The black wind faltered slightly under the impact of the flames. But in that moment of hesitation, the Qiong's 18 heads broke through the black wind, charging toward Wang Lin with a stench. The old and young heads all showed ferocity, especially the head of a middle-aged man who had previously been intent on devouring Wang Lin. This head now showed excitement, seemingly looking forward to soon devouring living flesh and blood. However, Wang Lin was already prepared. The lightning net instantly wrapped around the Qiong, and the electric sparks crackled. The Qiong roared in anger, but its speed slowed slightly. Wang Lin's eyes flickered. His 2 great thunder and fire divine arts were incredibly powerful, But they couldn't seriously injure the Qiong. They only served to slow it down. Given the time bought by this slight delay, Wang Lin wasn't entirely without hope of retreating into the vortex, thus escaping the Qiong's relentless pursuit. But to leave just like this was something Wang Lin could not accept. To chase me, you must pay the price. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly as he formed a hand seal, channeling his primordial energy. A sudden chill rose from within his spirit. A burst of slaughter chi erupted from his body, quickly transforming into a web of death that coiled in front of him. With a low shout, he pointed forward. In an instant, the slaughter chi gathered violently, eventually forming a dark red beam of light. Accompanied by the thunderous roar of lightning, it shot toward the Qiong. This all happened in the blink of an eye. As the dark red slaughter chi surged forward, the Qiong's body trembled. The electric net surrounding it instantly shattered. At the moment the electric net collapsed, the slaughter chi howled in, moving with the speed of a shooting star, and illuminated the Qiong's 18 heads and 18 pairs of eyes. With a thunderous boom, the beam struck one of its heads. Under the force of this crazy impact, Qiong's body involuntarily staggered. Wang Lin didn't have time to check the results of the battle. His body sped backward, and in the blink of an eye, he was near the vortex. With one step, he entered. As his figure vanished, he glanced back at Qiong's direction, and his heart suddenly sank. Qiong's 18 heads, resembling middle-aged men, had tears of black blood flowing from their eyes. Yet, apart from this, his body was completely unharmed. Qiong's body trembled, and the 18 heads suddenly all jerked up, emitting a roar far more terrifying than before. This time, he was truly enraged. The sound of the roar echoed, and even the vortex where Wang Lin was seemed to become unstable. Qiong took a step forward, instantly reaching the edge of the vortex. As Wang Lin vanished, Qiong's body also dove straight in. The first gate of the ancient god ruins was divided into 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Wang Lin had entered the earth gate years ago, where he had adventured and killed Meng Tuozi. But now, he had entered the metal gate. As soon as he stepped out of the vortex, a scene like the sword grave appeared before him. Broken swords were scattered across the ground, standing upright, densely packed. It was impossible to count the sheer number of swords in this boundless world. A sorrowful aura of swords pervaded the quiet world, emanating an intense sense of loneliness. Wang Lin had no time to observe his surroundings. The moment he appeared, he shot forward. His right eye gleamed, and lightning surged from his body, forming arcs of electric light that surrounded him. From a distance, Wang Lin now resembled the legendary Xun'er Immortal. Without hesitation, as he charged forward, Wang Lin flicked his right hand behind him, and immediately, the lightning on his body seemed to find its outlet. With a deafening roar, the thunderous lightning shot towards the rear. At that moment, the distant, dark sky behind Wang Lin twisted. Waves of ripples echoed, and Qiong's enraged figure stepped out, colliding directly with the thunderous lightning Wang Lin unleashed. The sound of the explosion reverberated across the sword grave. The thunder struck, causing Qiong to roar, disregarding the power of the lightning. 17 of his 18 heads, with blood-red eyes, locked onto Wang Lin and gave chase. But Wang Lin's lightning was not to be underestimated. The relentless bolts continuously struck Qiong, slowing him down so he couldn't fully unleash his speed. It seemed as though Qiong was enduring a heavenly tribulation, and Wang Lin had become the messenger of the heavenly laws. Wang Lin sped forward, his hands constantly forming seals. The lightning was endless, flashing from his fingertips and manifesting in all directions before crashing into Qiong. Qiong roared, and incantations came from his 18 heads. They transformed into numerous divine abilities that charged straight at Wang Lin. Suddenly, a dark cloud appeared in front of Wang Lin, and from within, a black tongue shot out, heading directly toward him. Wang Lin's face paled slightly, his eyes flashing coldly. He reached out with his right hand, and the wind-summoning art erupted, covering much of the sky. 4 black dragons materialized, charging toward the black tongue. A violent roar echoed, and the sky seemed to explode in a circular pattern. Wang Lin's figure flickered, dodging the impact, and continued flying forward. With a quick gesture, he unleashed more lightning, while a sea of fire spread around him, following the thunder. Qiong's roar grew louder, and one of his heads, resembling a blue-haired man, showed a chilling gaze. It opened its mouth and exhaled a blast of blue light. In an instant, a mist appeared in front of him. The mist rapidly expanded, and before long, a sea of water appeared, sweeping across the sky like an ocean. As Wang Lin's lightning and flames roared toward the sea, one of Qiong's childlike heads exhaled a gust of cold air. The chill spread like a ghostly wind, causing the entire world to tremble. The water emitted cracking sounds, and the vast sea quickly turned into glaciers, freezing solid. The lightning was trapped inside the ice, while the raging flames were instantly surrounded by the frozen mass, completely still. If that was all, it wouldn't have been so shocking. But under the cold aura, the ice seemed to appear out of nowhere. With the sound of cracking, Wang Lin could clearly feel the oppressive coldness closing in around him. In the blink of an eye, he noticed that the ice was beginning to form around all sides of him. Wang Lin, seasoned by countless battles, remained calm. His body was enveloped in a flash of red light, and the vermilion bird armor instantly materialized around him. As the white vermilion bird circled his body, the sound of the vermilion bird's cry rang out. In that instant, Wang Lin's entire body was enveloped in white flames. He charged forward, crashing directly into the approaching ice. The sound of the ice shattering filled the air. Before the ice could touch Wang Lin, it rapidly melted, and he barreled through it, breaking through all obstacles and charging forward. Bursting through the ice, Wang Lin raised his right hand, and immediately, thunder roared once more. But this time, he didn't unleash the lightning towards the approaching Qiong, who was getting closer by the second. Instead, he flung it toward the sword graveyard below. In an instant, the thunder struck the ground with a deafening boom. The lightning scattered, spreading across countless broken swords. The sword bodies shimmered with electric currents, and within moments, the entire area, 1,000 yards in radius, was lit up by flickering lightning emanating from each of the scattered swords. With a low shout, Wang Lin raised both hands high. Just as Qiong was less than 100 yards away, the broken swords in the ground began to rise, guided by the thunderous lightning. They flew into the air, forming a sword rain that howled with thunder and sword intent, heading straight for Qiong. A cold light flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Qiong had harbored murderous intent towards him, and now, Wang Lin, too, had developed the same intent toward this relentless foe. However, with his cultivation, killing Qiong would be no easy task. Were it not for his speed, he would have long been caught and devoured by this ferocious beast. Although Wang Lin had come here in a clone form, retaining all of his cultivation, death would not affect his true body on the moon, but his purpose here was to assess to ascend strength. If he were to be killed here, he would find that utterly unacceptable. At this moment, the broken swords, rising from the ground over 1,000 yards in radius, were charging toward Qiong. Wang Lin swiftly retreated, his hands crackling with lightning. With each strike, the lightning plunged downward, causing the swords to rise once more, wrapped in a dazzling electric aura. As Wang Lin moved faster, it seemed as if in the blink of an eye, every broken sword in the area, stretching over 10,000 miles, had flown into the air. Electric currents enveloped the swords, forming a nearly impenetrable sword net. The sound of sword chi howling drowned out the thunder, even overpowering Qiong's roars. Sword rain. No words could adequately describe the scene before him. Only the phrase sword rain could capture it. Countless broken swords, rusted from age, now shed their rust under the lightning. Within moments, the sight before Wang Lin was a blinding sea of silver as the swords surged toward Qiong. The flying swords accelerated, their sword intent weaving through the air, their electric lights scattering in all directions. They struck from every angle, relentlessly charging at Qiong. Furious, Qiong roared again, and his 18 heads simultaneously chanted incantations. His body's hands, moving like a cultivator's, formed seals. As the incantations resounded, Black lights flickered around each head, forming swirling marks in the air. These marks multiplied rapidly, and in no time, they created a protective barrier around Qiong, just as the sword rain came crashing down. Bang! 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 Each flying sword collided violently with the energy shield. With the guidance of the thunder, the swords unleashed terrifying power. There was a fierce determination behind every strike. If the barrier didn't break, the swords themselves would. Boom! 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 One by one, the swords shattered into fragments, scattering across the battlefield. But more swords pierced through the debris, continuing their assault on the energy shield. This process lasted for dozens of breaths. The energy shield trembled, and eventually, the black light flickered, showing signs of collapsing. But there were fewer and fewer swords left. Wang Lin, however, would not let it end this way. The moment the sword rain surged forward, he swiftly retreated, his hands lighting up with thunder as he sent bolts down to the ground, causing the swords to rise again. Just as the first wave of flying swords was about to collapse entirely, a second wave of swords, blocking out the sky, appeared from the distance. But at that moment, a furious roar came from within the energy shield. It immediately turned transparent, revealing a vast expanse of flames within. The flames were not red but golden, and they erupted from Qiong's 18 heads. One head, resembling that of a middle-aged man with blood streaming from its black eyes, spat out a torrent of golden flames. The golden flames burst from the shield, spreading outwards with an intensity that could melt any of the approaching swords. Seeing the flames scatter, Wang Lin was not surprised, but overjoyed. A flash of hesitation passed in his eyes before it was replaced by absolute determination. A heavenly gift. Wang Lin's left eye ignited with flames, swirling around him as he whispered, 9 mystic divine ability, fire evasion. Where there is fire, there are no boundaries. Wang Lin transformed into fire itself, rushing forward and vanishing in an instant. When he reappeared, he was standing just 3 paces in front of Qiong, amidst the sea of golden flames. The moment he materialized, the intense heat nearly overwhelmed him, but gritting his teeth, he pressed forward once more. This time, he reappeared directly above the middle-aged man's head. Cold, killing intent flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. With a swift motion, his right hand rose, and an iron sword appeared in his grasp. The sword was covered in rust, but the moment it materialized, every flying sword within the vast sword graveyard trembled. Wang Lin's primordial energy surged into the sword, and in an instant, the sword gleamed with a brilliant light, transforming into a blade of shocking power, an earth-shattering sword. With a single slash, bloodlight erupted, and Qiong let out a painful roar, struggling. Of his 18 heads, one of them suddenly had a blood streak appear across its neck. The head, resembling a middle-aged man, showed disbelief in its eyes, before it detached and plummeted downward. Without any pause, Wang Lin sheathed his sword and dashed forward. Using fire evasion, he grabbed the severed head, appearing 1,000 feet away in an instant. Without looking back, he sped off. That previous slash was meant to injure Qiong, giving the second wave of flying sword attacks from all directions a chance. But he hadn't expected that one strike would sever the head. Time didn't allow him to think much. He grabbed the middle-aged man's head, feeling something odd about it, and in a flash, he disappeared 1,000 feet away. However, in that moment, the grotesque head exploded with a bang, turning into a sea of flames. Within the flames, there was a cyan shard. The shard looked like a broken piece of ceramic, but it emanated the power of heaven and earth. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, but his body didn't falter. He clenched the shard and blurred into motion, heading forward. At this moment, Qiong's branches, now without a head, suddenly shriveled up. In a moment, they turned into a wisp of cyan gas that dissipated. The remaining 17 heads all lifted their gazes, and even his hulking body trembled violently. A thunderous roar erupted, shaking the heavens. The roar drowned out even the thunder, creating an explosion of sound that rippled through the area. The golden pass of heaven and earth seemed to reverse, and countless flying swords from all directions trembled in response. Qiong snarled and charged forward with unimaginable speed, closing the distance to Wang Lin in the blink of an eye. The 17 heads chanted spells, and in an instant, they all lunged forward to devour him. Suddenly, the wind howled, and countless cyan mists appeared out of nowhere. In front of Qiong, a massive cyan head materialized. The head had a human face but was covered in scales, its eyes cold and merciless. From a distance, it was no less than 1,000 feet large. Strangely, in the center of its forehead, there was a palm print, radiating a burst of purple aura like a seal. With a roar, this gigantic, eerie head opened its mouth and lunged at Wang Lin, aiming to devour him. At the moment this massive head appeared, the sky above was filled with countless purple auras that converged together to form a palm print. It slowly descended, not onto the huge head, but toward Qiong. The 17 heads of Qiong roared in defiance, seemingly resisting the descent of the palm print as they tried to manifest the giant head once again. Wang Lin's pupils contracted. He had suspected something was wrong earlier. Qiong was strong, but not as powerful as the version from 2C's memories, which had 36 heads. Yet, this Qiong now had 18 heads. A seed of doubt arose in Wang Lin's heart. However, before he could dwell on it, Qiong unleashed a terrifying divine power that sent a chill down his spine. The enormous head, upon appearing, caused Wang Lin's cultivation to seemingly come to a halt, as though it was frozen in place. And when it lunged to devour, an overwhelming force of suction suddenly appeared around Wang Lin's body. The strength of this force was beyond his resistance, and coupled with the freezing of his cultivation, Wang Lin found himself unable to escape. His body was pulled toward the giant mouth. It seemed as though this head's divine power could devour heaven and earth itself. Even the second wave of flying swords from afar were drawn toward it. That would have been frightening enough, but what truly terrified Wang Lin was that the very fabric of the world seemed to be trembling, as though it would be torn apart by the massive mouth, which appeared to devour everything. Ancient spirit, named Ji, swallows heaven and earth once, and gains a new head. In that moment, a voice echoed in Wang Lin's mind. His face turned pale as he shot toward the giant mouth like a falling star, the distance between him and the monstrous mouth narrowing. In the face of imminent danger, Wang Lin desperately raised his right hand to press on his forehead. His right arm suddenly emitted a series of cracking sounds, and instantly turned into a mass of rock, finally crashing into his forehead. With this point, a massive explosion erupted from his right arm, scattering countless stones that were immediately sucked into the giant mouth. However, in that instant, the self-detonation of his right arm caused his cultivation to regain a slight momentum. In that split second, Wang Lin's left hand reached out into the air, and a storage rift appeared in front of him. The iron sword and the ceramic-like shard were quickly tossed into the rift. At the same time, a piece of beast hide flew out from it, pressing against the yellow rune paper on Wang Lin's chest. The yellow rune paper was a speed rune, and the beast hide was also a speed rune, personally crafted by the rune ancestor and handed down through the Tashan sect. Its power was immense. With both speed runes on him, an unimaginable surge of speed erupted from Wang Lin's body. With the overwhelming speed propelling him forward, Wang Lin gritted his teeth and surged ahead, struggling against the powerful suction. As he broke free, he felt as though he had collided with towering mountains, hearing the thunderous crashes as he shot forward for Tianjiang. At that moment, his left leg suddenly turned to stone and with a loud crash, shattered into debris, getting sucked away beside him. Qiong roared in fury, his 17 heads all showing fierce expressions, veins bulging on his face as they fought against the palm seal that was drawing closer. The huge mouth that appeared before him exuded a dense green glow, its suction growing stronger. Wang Lin was in the midst of charging out of the suction when his right leg suddenly shattered with a resounding thud. The ever-increasing pull left him no room to escape, and with a whoosh, he was yanked backward, about to be swallowed by the giant mouth. With a bitter smile, he managed to raise his left hand, which was stiff and almost turned to stone, and without hesitation, tore off the rune and beast hide from his chest. He used the last of his cultivation to send the rune and hide into the storage rift. After doing this, his vision went black, and with countless flying swords, he was swallowed into the enormous mouth of the Thousand Qiong head. The Thousand Qiong head turned into a vast sky-covering green light, which instantly merged into Qiong's body. At the same time, the palm seal descending from the sky slowed to a stop just a zhang above Qiong. Qiong raised his 17 heads, revealing a wary look, yet he continued to growl. Just then, the purple light of the palm seal suddenly flashed brightly, scattering down below, enveloping Qiong's body. His body became transparent, and his internal structure was clearly visible. Had Wang Lin not been swallowed at that moment, he would have seen that inside 9 of Qiong's 17 heads, there were fragments of porcelain. The purple light flickered and gradually disappeared, and the palm seal vanished as if it had never existed. The wary look in Qiong's 17 eyes slowly faded, and now, at its neck, a mass of flesh appeared. It writhed before, with a pop, a branch about 100 zhang long shot out, and at the top of this branch, there was an unmistakable head. It was Wang Lin's head. At this moment, on the moonstar outside Vermilion Bird Star, within a seemingly ordinary mountain peak, Wang Lin, seated cross-legged within a formation of immortal qi, suddenly shuddered and opened his eyes in shock. Qiong. Wang Lin took a deep breath, not expecting that before he could witness Tuosen's clone in action, he had already perished in Qiong's mouth. The divine arts this beast displayed earlier were formidable, but I was able to resist and even cut down one of its heads. However, now that I think about it, all of this happened because the beast hadn't used its true divine abilities. It must have had some hesitation before. Wang Lin thought back to the palm seal on Qiong's forehead and the purple light handprint that appeared above it after it unleashed the devouring celestial art. Could it have been sealed? If it used its true divine ability, it would trigger the seal's power. That Thousand Qiong had it manifested was truly terrifying. Even with the combined speed of 2 speed runes, which rivals the late Shattered Nirvana stage, I had no power to resist that suction. Wang Lin gazed ahead silently, pondering for a long time. Finally, he sighed and murmured with a bitter smile. Wang Lin, your cultivation is nothing in this vast world. Everything still requires caution. A bitter smile appeared on his face as memories of his journey resurfaced. Battling Void Master in the land of demonic spirits, fighting heavenly fate in the battle of Remnant Night, the ancient demon in the dream returned to the past, and becoming the Vermilion Bird's sacred emperor. He even saved the Azure Dragon and awakened immortal Emperor Qinglin. Through it all, his cultivation grew exponentially, especially after becoming the Vermilion Bird's sacred emperor. Through cunning strategies, he lured various forces into a battle with Tuo Senator. All of this made him feel as if he had control over everything. His battle with the Shattered Nirvana cultivators had unknowingly instilled in him a sense of complacency. Had he been as cautious as before, when he saw Qiong, he would never have attempted to harm the beast when he could have simply escaped, thus avoiding the tragic end of being swallowed. The death of his clone was like a heavy blow to the head, shattering the complacency in his heart, leaving no trace of it behind. The feeling of death he had just experienced was painfully real, and it marked the second time in his life that he truly tasted the sensation of dying. With a bitter heart, Wang Lin fell into deep silence. After a long time, he lifted his head, his expression serious, filled with caution. With his hands forming seals, a flicker appeared on his brow, and once again, a portion of his essence spirit split off. As before, he gathered surrounding rubble to form another clone. His essence spirit merged with it, and with a flash, he disappeared into the mountain. This Qinglin's immortal technique requires far too much celestial energy, and if I divide my spirit too much, it will have a great impact on my essence. This second clone is my limit. Wang Lin closed his eyes and silently began meditating, focusing his mind on the clone. Using the shrinking earth technique, Wang Lin once again arrived on the Vermilion Bird Star. Without pause, he headed directly to the ancient god ruins. At the entrance, he took a deep breath and stepped inside. With the same caution he had during his core formation stage, Wang Lin moved through the void with care and soon arrived at the whirlpool entrance. Reaching into the air with his right hand, he summoned a flying sword. infused it with his divine sense, and directed it toward the vortex. As it entered, a storm of sand and dust immediately assaulted him. Wang Lin was deeply wary of Qiong. If they encountered each other again, he feared he'd be forced to abandon his avatar and his search for Tuosen's power and flee with his true body. Though Wang Lin was familiar with the earthen past before him, he remained vigilant. He carefully avoided all the danger zones he had sensed in the past, and after a full day of navigating, he finally found the entrance to the next level and stepped through. Throughout his journey, Wang Lin adhered to caution, traversing many of the places from his past as he slowly made his way deeper into the ancient god ruins. Along the way, he encountered numerous cultivators. On the 5th day, Wang Lin entered the final level of the ancient god ruins he had known from years before. This level, like the others, was a void. The moment he passed through the entrance, he immediately sensed ripples of divine arts resonating all around, accompanied by the sounds of magical artifacts clashing and shattering. Without hesitation, he swiftly retreated. Within this void were many cultivators. Not far ahead, dozens of them were locked in fierce battle with an old man in red robes. The old man's face was weathered with time. He didn't need hand seals. With a simple wave, divine arts surged forth. The abilities he unleashed were unfamiliar and carried the weight of time itself. The moment Wang Lin saw the man, he narrowed his eyes into slits. He faintly recalled that this person was one of the ancient Qi practitioners from within Tuosen's blood sea. His cultivation was on par with that of a late pure nirvana stage cultivator. Each of the cultivators besieging the old man had a coffin at their side. The coffins had long been opened, and corpse puppets had emerged, forming the main force of the assault. Though the old man was alone, the battle was intense. More than a dozen corpses of fallen cultivators floated in the surroundings. Nearby stood 7 or 8 more cultivators, all members of the corpsine sect. Leading them was a young man in black robes. His eyes were locked on the old man, and with every gesture of his right hand, the formation of the corpsine sect disciples surrounding the elder would shift accordingly. Wang Lin's sudden arrival immediately drew the attention of both sides. The red-robed elder spotted Wang Lin at once, and his eyes burst forth with blazing red light. The corpsine sect cultivators also noticed him, though it was clear they didn't recognize who Wang Lin truly was. The black-robed youth merely gave him a cold glance before waving his hand, sending 2 corpsine sect disciples straight toward Wang Lin. Fellow Taoist, this ancient Qi practitioner is already being dealt with by our corpsine sect. Please go elsewhere, one of them said with cupped fists. Though his tone sounded polite, his eyes were anything but friendly. The others with him wore similar icy expressions. Wang Lin remained calm. He nodded slightly, then turned into a streak of light and flew off to the side. The corpsine sect cultivators paid him no further attention. The black-robed youth didn't even glance at him again. His gaze remained fixated on the red-robed elder, eyes brimming with greed. That ancient cultivator's physical body and essence spirit are mine. As Wang Lin flew through the void, he saw countless cultivators. Most moved in groups of 3 to 5, rarely alone, streaking across the boundless emptiness like rainbows in search of something. He also saw several ancient Qi practitioners from within Tuosen's blood sea. They were all surrounded and being besieged by groups of cultivators. Each time Wang Lin drew near, someone would block his path, just like the corpsine sect disciples had, speaking politely on the surface but clearly warning him off. If he pressed forward, conflict was inevitable. Wang Lin's expression stayed composed, but his eyes revealed a trace of mockery. Every time he encountered such a situation, he would turn and leave. The allure of the ancient Qi practitioners truly breeds greed in people. To obtain their cultivation methods and divine arts, there's a price to pay. Though these ancient Qi practitioners varied in cultivation, nearly all possessed formidable divine arts. Often, a single one of them could slaughter swathes of attackers on their own. However, the ones Wang Lin had seen so far were all weaker figures from the Blood Sea days. Not a single truly powerful ancient Qi practitioner had appeared, even after so long. I wonder where Yen Lazy and the great divine ability cultivator from the corpsine sect have gone, Wang Lin thought as he spread his divine sense wide, searching rapidly. But the void was vast, far beyond what his divine sense could cover. All he could do was continue searching. On the 8th day, while flying forward, Wang Lin suddenly came to a halt. His gaze snapped toward the front. Ahead, in the void, a sudden burst of blood light appeared. Echoes of a distant rumbling reverberated as the blood light spread out in waves. It wasn't clear how long this wave had been spreading, but it eventually came into view in Wang Lin's eyes. The blood light wave quickly approached, passing through Wang Lin's body. He trembled, and his primordial energy rapidly circulated to neutralize the strange force within the blood light. However, his body was also pushed back by the wave, stopping after retreating several dozen yards. Turning back, Wang Lin saw the blood light wave continuing to spread farther. His eyes gleamed with sharp focus. His body flickered, vanishing into thin air, and instantly teleported towards the source of the wave ahead. The blood light wave contained powerful remnants of divine abilities, clearly caused by a battle of magic. Such a force could only be wielded by top-tier cultivators. Yin Lazy's face was pale as he fixed his gaze on a red-robed elder ahead. This elder's hair and beard were all red, with eyes burning a deep crimson. Despite this, there was no trace of madness in his expression, only a chilling calm. Divine power fluctuations spread around both figures, each stepping back 100 yards, maintaining a distance while saying nothing. The red-robed elder flicked his sleeve, and a vast blood sea immediately appeared in front of him. It spiraled around, forming into a blood sea dragon that roared and charged directly at Yin Lazy. As soon as the blood sea dragon appeared, it split into 8 heads, transforming into a 9-headed blood dragon. With a thunderous roar, it surged rapidly towards Yin Lazy. Again with this trick, Yin Lazy retreated immediately, his hands forming seals as he slapped his forehead. A burning bead shot out from his crown, and with a pointed gesture, the bead flew forward. It exploded into a massive sea of fire, surging towards the 9-headed dragon. The sound of crashing reverberated as the red-robed elder stepped forward, transforming into a streak of red lightning. He pierced through the blood dragon and fire sea, closing in on Yin Lazy, and raised his right hand to strike down. Yin Lazy had already prepared, retreating once more. He opened his mouth and spat out an object, which transformed into a shard that rapidly grew into a fragment of an immortal realm continent. With a loud crash, the red-robed elder's palm landed on the shard in the air. The elder was sent stumbling backward, coldly staring at Yin Lazy. He formed seals in front of him and gestured, causing a look of pain to cross his face. Countless blood blisters began to form on his skin, making him look grotesque and sending a chill down anyone's spine. Yin Lazy had been fighting this ancient cultivator for an entire day, but they had remained evenly matched. However, upon seeing the blood blisters on his opponent's skin, Yin Lazy's mind jolted. His expression grew wary. His right hand grasped the air, summoning a storage rift and retrieving a fan. The fan was entirely white, appearing as if it were crafted from jade. As the fan appeared, the red-robed elder's blood blisters spread, bursting one by one. Blood immediately poured from his body, and with low growls resembling beasts, the elder's body began to swell. His veins bulged, and surrounded by them, he no longer looked human. With a swift motion, the elder lunged toward Yin Lazy. Yin Lazy's expression grew solemn as he retreated, preparing to open the fan. However, at that moment, his footsteps faltered. His expression shifted to one of respect, and he closed the fan. In front of the red-robed elder, as he charged like a blood streak, a silent, ancient hand emerged from the void. It lifted a finger and gently pointed at the elder. This casual gesture was as if the elder had collided with it himself. The elder's forehead struck the finger, and the finger effortlessly pierced his skull, breaking through to the other side. With a resounding crash, the red-robed elder's head exploded, and blood light spread out in a circular frenzy. Even his physical body trembled and collapsed. From the void, an old man in black stepped out. His expression was calm as he scanned the surroundings, a trace of emotion flickering in his eyes. "I didn't expect. He really was hiding here." "Greetings, Supreme Venerable," Yin Lazy said, his voice filled with respect as he bowed. With such commotion, it still couldn't draw him out. What could he be after? The old man murmured, furrowing his brow. Supreme Venerable. When we were outside Vermilion Bird Star, that artifact, and the words he said, Yin Lazy, though initially disagreeing with coming here, had no courage to oppose the orders of the person before him. Now, he hesitantly suggested that a terrifying existence was hidden here. The old man fell silent. After a long pause, he sighed and shook his head. Wu Jizi, what exactly do you want? At that moment, on the massive conical stone in the blood sea of the ancient god ruins, Tuasin slowly rose from his meditative position. He looked up at the blood-red sky, a sinister smile creeping across his face. This time, let me kill to my heart's content. With a wild laugh, Tuasin stepped forward. His right hand tore through the sky, and instantly, a massive rift appeared in the blood-red sky, stretching for miles. Within it, all was pitch black, the void, where most of the cultivators were at this very moment. Beneath this blood-red world, within the endless sea of blood, hundreds of cultivators were seated. At that moment, they all opened their eyes one by one, crazily rising into the sky,